for Rip. Because I'll tell you what, that imposter, it's no bueno, man. I'm not too great at playing imposter. Or at least I don't think I'm all that great.
By the way, this plate that's in here.
But I was looking up all those different types of Among Us art, and I gotta say, people do some fantastic art for the imposter.
No, do you want it? She didn't like how it expired. She says that it's a bad.
Ugh. Now, when I play Among Us, I'm always the brown color. I'm very upset if I don't get to play the brown color. And I don't even know why. Brown's not even my favorite color, you know? But I just decided, that's my color. So one of the things that I'm doing when I'm playing lately is I'm noticing that there are people out there and they sort of make their own characters. And I'm trying to pay more attention to that because I never really thought of taking these little marshmallowy looking guys and turning them into their own little characters. I really want to get to a point where I can have these little itty bitty little pets. Those are my favorite. They are so adorable. But it makes me wonder, what's going on with the imposter? How come he's got little baby too? What's going on there? Well, this is going to be a pretty quick drawing. Not a big deal. No rush, you know? Emily says I'm taking too long with the drawing. It is sus. Yeah, a real sus, I wonder what that could mean. What is it? What could that mean? Y'all about to find out because this is the fun part of the drawing. Draw his little feet. Keep running out of ink. See, my big problem with playing Among Us is that when I'm playing as just a crewmate, I'm not actually that good at doing any of the tasks. And that's what makes me look suspicious. So I'm out here, perfectly normal crewmate. I'm just really bad at being a crewmate. So I just get yoked into space. It's not a fun time in America when that happens, Now there's other people out there who have a lot more intricate and detailed designs for the imposter. I don't know. I really love those designs. I feel like I'm a little bit better at something that's just a little simpler in this particular case. It's the spacesuits that are the hardest to draw, I think. Especially when you're going full detailed like that.
Hey, Gabe.
Yes?
Just want to let you know I'm sharing you on Facebook.
Oh, I'm going on Facebook too? That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you. I was originally thinking about doing the Doom guy for Rip, like Rip and Tear.
Oh.
But I figured, that's actually kind of, I feel like a lot of people are going to be doing that. A lot of people are doing Among Us too, but I've actually played Among Us. I haven't been able to do anything with Doom yet, unfortunately. It's just that grad school woes. You don't have time for anything. Well, now we're getting to the fun part. See, this is why I wanted to do this with ink. These flowing, detailed lines. This is good stuff right here. Oh, yes. Get like this fibers. I think my favorite thing about the game is that it's just made by what, 4 guys? And the server, it's probably just somebody's PC running in the basement. Like, that's as homegrown as it gets for a video game, isn't it? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is an actual legitimate server, but I don't know. From my experience, it's probably just some tower from like Staples running in the basement. You get a little rotating fan to cool it off, and that's it. You know? That's how I used to run Minecraft servers back in the day. So, on some of my other ink drawings, what I was doing is I tried to vary the weight of my ink, and it would vary with how far away the image was. It would vary with what the natural color of the image was. In this one, since it's purposely more cartoonish, I'm not giving that so much thought anymore. All I'm doing is just roughly the same width as much as I can throughout the whole piece. Maybe minor details like the little marks on their face shields I'll give a lighter motion to, but otherwise I'm not going to worry too much about it. Now we're going to start getting into the gnarled, fibrous imposter. I had a game the other night where it was me and this other person who was brand new, didn't even know any of the tasks, both cast as the imposter. And that was very stressful, very stressful. And what wound up happening is we were both cast as the imposter 3 times consecutively. One after another, we're just completely the imposter. And it was fun. At round 2, it was fun. Round 3, I was starting to get a little tired of it. All I want to do is go to the med bay, do my little doctor duties, and just be a happy little crewman doing my tasks. You know what I mean? Now I'm told like the algorithm that decides whether or not that you are an imposter is supposed to be completely random, but it's like I'm the imposter a lot. A lot. I don't know what's going on. It's a little bit sus to me, you know what I'm saying? I'm not too sure about that. A little bit shady. And I was thinking about maybe trying to go out and buy some sort of something to color this with, or maybe just go at it with some colored pencils. But I don't know. This is pretty accurate. White crewman always sus. You know what I'm saying? Let's get. Oh yeah, there we go. Get some texture on some of this. And I've seen some pretty good custom animations for the imposter. I've seen memes of it too. The whole fandom is just absolutely out there. Kind of wish it came out closer towards the beginning of the quarantine because I feel like that would have been exactly what we needed. Sit there with a little bit of Tiger King, a little bit of Among Us. Yeah, that's it. That's how I want to spend my day. Let's put some more texture here. There we go. I want to make it look absolutely creepy in the spirit of October, as you know. Get a little bit going over here. There. Now, I think I remember hearing somewhere that there was an idea for Among Us 2, and I don't know what that's going to look like. Is it going to be the same game but with more maps? Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be like a story mode or something. Because I'll be honest, I do want to hear a little bit more about that story. Wow, what's going on? Why are we out here on what is it, the scariest? Why does HQ need me to do everything? The best part of it, it's basically just Space Station 13, but made intuitive. And for those of you who don't know, Space Station 13, it's this, I guess it's kind of an indie game, but it's just been this really difficult to play game where you're on a little space station, you got your little space dude, and why it depends on the type of game you're playing, but a lot of things can happen. Anything from alien invasions to oh man, I ran out of ink. Alien invasion's the only one that's coming to mind, but we've also had robots take over the space station, which was upsetting. I got turned into a robot, which not fun, not fun, but got to admit the people who did it were very clever, so I couldn't even be mad. Sometimes the AI goes mad. That's always fun. I had one where the space station fell into the sun. That was exciting. I think it was just I think I just so happened to be on a server with a bunch of other people while the server owner was trying to test different game modes. So I'm hoping that what'll happen with Among Us 2 is that it'll be a little bit like Space Station 13 with more game modes. go. The nice thing about drawing something that is organic shaped like these is that it's okay if your hand jiggles a little bit or if you make some imperfections or mistakes because these organic shapes are supposed to be imperfect. Let's get some of that going. There we go. Make it look nice and weird. Man, I'm running out of ink like crazy. That's the one problem with ink and dip pens is that you've got to keep your ink bottle pretty close by. Some say it's a little bit more elegant of a way to write, and I know that there are people out there who they take old-fashioned pens like this way seriously. I'm not one of them. They're good, and I like to use them to ink over brush, but I'm not going to use these to write out a lot of my documents or practice my signature or anything because there's a reason that ballpoint pens got so popular. You have to change up the ink so often. And that said, one of these days I do want one of those fancy pens just so I can use it for inking. You can tell, I don't know if you can see, but I'm getting ink stains all on the side of my hand. Hey, Kinti Imara on YouTube says, "What's up? What's up, man? How's it going? I'm out here drawing some Among Us. You can see the big rip that this guy's got going on in his spacesuit because he's the imposter. You can probably guess what's going to happen to the poor crewmate. Not the pet, though, or the child, or I don't know. Do we call them pet or child? Because I know in the game they call it pet. Kinti Imara says that's some impressive inking. Well, thank you. I'm not as practiced with it as I should be, but the nice thing about being able to use pens with nibs, these dip pens, is that it gives you a little bit more control over how much ink you're using and how it flows. So I wouldn't be able to get this sort of expressiveness coming from a ballpoint pen, for instance. Put some more detail here. There we go. Let's have two eyes and the same little slot. That's totally creepy, isn't it? I think if I saw that in real life, I'd cry. Oh, yeah. Kinti Amara says, I didn't know you actually draw stuff. Yeah, I draw stuff all the time. Oh, yeah. More eyes. I have to make up for the total lack of them on all of these characters here. You know what I'm saying? Let's add something dangling right down here, you know? There we go. That's kind of creepy. I think it is anyway. And I think we're just about finished, so as always, I'm going to give it an ink wash. Pardon me while I have fun. It's interesting to see how the ink and the water mix together. See, when you're using pens and they've got nibs like this, you generally don't want to touch it with your hands because your hands have oil on them. And I think I've said this before in just about all my videos, that oil and the ink do not mix. What winds up happening is the oil and the ink on the pen, it just keeps the ink from running. Gotta find the eraser so I can go ahead and erase some of these lines. This and my tablet pen, constantly losing. Oh yeah, Kinty says that explains a lot with my dip pens. Yep. What's probably going on is there's oils on the nib, and you can usually take that off in a variety of ways. I prefer to use just glass cleaner. I just get a cup sort of like this, fill it with a little bit of glass cleaner, and stir it around like this. And I dip it in warm water and wipe it off with my towel. I have this rag here that's absolutely grody, covered in ink. That's what I use to get the ink off. I have also seen people suggest that you can put your ink nibs in a potato, and the potato sops up all of the oil. And as weird as that sounds, it actually works. So, oh, you haven't used them since second year in school. They might also be old, and over time, the tines, or the two middle prongs on your nib, you can't see it in this one, but over time, the tines on your nib can start to spread apart. And there's really not much you can do to fix it. You just have to get yourself a new set of nibs. You could use a potato. I've seen people just wash it off with good old-fashioned water, but since it's water and oil, it can be a little difficult. Surprisingly, the potato is the most efficient way. I've also seen people light their nibs on fire or put it over a candle, and that works as well. Oh man, I did it again. I'm always doing this. It's okay. We'll make it work. Don't worry. I'll show you how to creatively fix that one. So, what I'm going to do here is this guy is no longer going to be the white crewman. I'm going to pull out one of my brush pens that I have sitting around. I'm using this because I'm covering a lot of area in a short amount of time, and I just don't want to waste my own India ink. No, I'm not the best at markers. So this is going to look a little streaky. These are just Faber-Castell. I think these are like the student level markers. They're nothing special, but they get the job done. I think I've said before, I've always wanted to try Copics or other alcohol markers, but I just don't have that sort of finances right now. And also, I don't want to spend money on it if I don't really know how to use it yet. You know? So I want to find a lower priced alcohol marker and see what I can do with that first. And they say that it's the quality of the marker that keeps it from being so streaky like this. I don't know. I don't have that expertise to confirm, but it would be so much fun to try. in the meantime, you can sort of use the streakiness as a way of suggesting shading, even though both the shading and the flat color are black. Now, I'm not going to be able to do too much to fix this, but for the most part, I can at least cover this up nice and pretty. So, I could have avoided that by waiting, just sitting and talking to the camera while the ink dries. But I am impatient, and that is a character flaw that I have let get the best of me. So I'll go ahead and leave him colored like that, because I'm going to do the rest of this with an ink wash. I have found out throughout the course of Inktober that this is one of my favorite things, is ink washes. So this is just water and the ink from my nib earlier. And all I have to do is just spread the ink water around. It gives it a nice sort of gray look. Now, this is a very light ink wash because I didn't add too much ink into the water. But I can always just drip some more in. I remember when I was taking classes for fine arts. One of the things they had us do was do a still life in ink like this, and then shade it with an ink wash. But you could use lines to define the shading a little bit, but the majority of the shading came from the wash. It was very difficult, but very interesting. There we go. So there. That'll give it a little bit of nice color. Now I want to do some of these tendrils, but I also want it to look a little bit darker. So I'm going to go ahead and add some ink. It's 1, 2, 3 drops. Mix it in. Let's go ahead and there we go. There. Part of working with ink washes and watercolors is that you just have to trust the water a little bit. Normally I like to use the flat brush. It's a rectangular shaped and it gives me a lot of expression and movement in all of my art. But right now, since I've got so many tiny spaces, I'm just using this really narrow looking brush. I'm going to see about giving this mistake over here a little bit darker color so that it doesn't look quite so much like a mistake. And I'm probably also going to come back and give the mouth a darker color too, because what I want is for the imposter to have this very dark set of values so that the eye goes to him first. And then what'll happen is because those values, this big mass over here is going to be medium colored. The eye is going to follow this over to this little guy over here, who is the lightest colored thing on the paper. For the most part, it's a pretty intentional choice, but
You're very welcome. So where do we put these glazes in? We're gonna put these glazes in right over there.
I don't know if you can hear, but you've got the sound of the shop going on around. It's kind of comforting. You've got the train going by. I've always wanted to, this is a little bit unrelated, but I've always wanted to see about bringing in, I don't know, cookies or eggs or something, putting it on a metal tray on top of the kiln and seeing if the kiln, the heat from that thing, will cook it. I'm pretty sure that that is not something I should be allowed to do, but I don't know, maybe I'll be like, oh, just take the camera, come in, and try and cook something. If I do that, I'm going to put it on YouTube. And see, the only reason I would be interested in doing that is because I think out of everybody in the studio, I'm the one person who is not a potter. So I am perfectly content with being the one person in the studio who just refuses to do pottery correctly, you know? There we go. I want to cake on the ink wash here. I want it to look nice and dark and spooky. I might even have to come back and add some more ink to my water as well. This is also pretty good for adding shadows. Look at that, easy peasy. Well, you can barely see it on the camera. Let me see if I can darken that. Easy peasy. Alright. Let's see if I can go ahead and darken the ink wash just a little bit to get that one corner by the imposter's mouth. And once I do that, I'll call this thing finished. That might be about as dark as it's going to get. Let's just outline this a little bit. There we go. All right, now for the last part of the drawing, signing it. When I was a beginning artist, I used to never like signing my work. Now that I've been at it for a while, I kind of regret that. Let's see. Now there we go. All done. So, this is Gabe super awesome, cool pottery. Thank you for tuning in, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. We hope that you'll come by the studio maybe, because I'm going to be posting this up on the back wall with everybody else's Inktober drawings. And that whole collaboration looks pretty impressive, I gotta say. So, thank you for tuning in. See y'all next time.